Good evening, everybody. This is John Marola from Keeping It Real Section 5 Football. And as you can see, I am at Greece Town Hall with one of my former players at Aquinas, and his name is Rick Antelli. And we are going to talk a little bit about there's some things that he went through when he was younger, went through Aquinas and then college into now. It's just there's not many people I was talking earlier, we were talking earlier about it. And there's not many guys that are on this list that I'm going to go through. So, first of all, I got to introduce my guest, Rick Antelli. Rick, thanks for being here, buddy.
Thank you so much, Coach.
All right.
Pleasure to be here. Excited.
All right. And what we're going to do is we'll start, how did you get, we were talking earlier about, Aquinas and when you're younger. What made you decide to go to Aquinas? Mm-hmm. That was the start of your journey.
Yep. No, thank you so much for having me on. This is very exciting and everything. So this is my first podcast, so hopefully I do all right with this. Yeah. But definitely excited to be here and talk a little bit about Section 5 football. Played such a big part of my life and everything, and Section 5 was so good to me. So it just feels kind of good to be back at it, talking about football again.
It never gets old.
It never really does get old. So, my journey to Aquinas. So I kind of got to go back to one of my favorite movies. My favorite movie growing up was the movie Rudy. A classic football movie, as I'm sure a lot of your listeners and people know about that. And as we know the story, Rudy went to Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish. So as I was growing up, watching the movie, as well as Aquinas kind of being that gold standard of our area of football, the history and everything that came with that, and being the Little Irish. So that kind of put two and two together with me. I had some family members who went through Aquinas and played football. And then especially watching, those earlier teams in the 90s winning, the back-to-back state championships. And during that time, really kind of solidified myself of wanting to go to Aquinas to play that type of level of football. I looked at Aquinas as the premier football school in the area with the tradition, the history, and the culture within that school in Aquinas. So for me, it was kind of like, all right, I kind of had my eyes set. I wanted to go to Aquinas. I wanted to go there and win sectionals and win state titles and do all that stuff that I kind of grew up seeing with it. So that's kind of why I set my sights in the beginning at Aquinas.
Yeah. And one thing that we will get into, I mentioned earlier that you had some accomplishments, and we talked about it earlier off camera, and we'll talk about it now. Honestly, it's hard for me to come up with how many people are in this categories. I'm going to, that you were fortunate enough to win a state championship at Aquinas.
Yes.
Your senior year.
Senior year. So we won the 07 championship.
That was your state championship. Tell us a little bit about that run.
Yes. That was almost kind of like a dream come true, to be honest. When I started with Aquinas, I started playing with who was it? It was Coach Sneddon.
Oh, okay.
Was actually there and everything. So got to Aquinas, was playing there and everything, and we were respectable, but we weren't kind of making those pushes yet for sectionals and everything like that. Then I played varsity my sophomore year with Coach Sneddon and everything. Then I believe Coach Sneddon, he went on, I forget where he went to coach after that. I don't know. But that's when Coach Taggs came in my junior year. And that's kind of when the realization of maybe we could actually do something like that. Our junior year, we made a splash. We won sectionals and kind of came out of nowhere with that team, which was a really fun ride, to be honest. Our junior year, that was my junior year, that was kind of like a cool season because, like I said, we kind of came into the season with, Aquinas in the name, but the past few years, the program, was more of just kind of average, wasn't really making that push as a contender. So when we came out, it was kind of like Aquinas is back.
Yep.
So that was kind of fun doing that. And we were almost playing with house money, basically. It was like nobody expected us to be here. We were just winning. We were having a ton of fun. I loved that team because really I played the majority of my football career with those seniors, playing up my freshman year on JV with them, then playing the last 2 years of varsity with them and everything, going into their senior year, which was my junior year. So it was really cool to kind of experience it with them. But that kind of sets up that senior year season. And that was kind of a wild ride. At that point, we were on the map, I would say, for Aquinas. And the expectation was there now. So that was kind of a little different. We weren't so much playing with house money. It was like, we have a job to do. We have to go and do this job every day if we want to accomplish what we want to. I remember, I believe it was Coach Tags during one of the summer camps. He mentioned he's like, if you look and read online or the newspapers, he's like, they already gave you the state championship. So it's like, it's going to be up to us in this group here to prove it and actually go out and take it. So that was kind of the mindset with that. It was truly a dream season, though. I mean, with that team and everything, how much fun we had playing. I mean, to only be down a total of, I think, about 4 minutes the whole year, which 3 of it came in the first game against McQuaid. We were down 20-14. We went in and we drove down in the fourth quarter, took the lead 21-20. We ended up winning that game, but that was the game that we trailed the most in. Other than that, our defense was phenomenal that year. I mean, you had the players like Todd Wingate,
who just got inducted into
into that
too,
you had him. You had Devin Worthington.
He's in that section.
He's in the section 5. Matt Jones at the end, section 5. Big Ben, JJ, Cedric. I mean, that team was just loaded with talent all over the place on defense. I was kind of happy because I didn't fully play both ways, but I was able to get in there a little bit on defense. I like to be like, I was kind of part of that group too, even though, I was more on the offensive side of the ball with everything. But, that was great. And as an offensive lineman too, on our line, we were so large with, the average size being about 6'2", 290 pounds. We were able to just ground and pound the ball with Fitz in the backfield, Casey Vogel, Cedric running the ball a little bit too with that, Marky Brondon. So, I mean, we had the talented running backs there, but, what we were doing on the line and everything, it was just a lot of fun with that. I remember one game that we were playing, I think it was against St. Joe's. For some reason, Benny Bostic at QB, he was lighting it up, and we had a really good passing game. And I remember coming with the game being like, we passed for, 200 and something yards, only rushed for like 100 and something, when usually it used to be flipped. But I remember thinking like, that was kind of easy. Like, that wasn't even like a real game type thing. But no, and just the chemistry too, I mean, with the team. Everybody loved everybody really on that team. I mean, I really got the sense that we all had one common goal. We all supported each other. We looked at each other as brothers and family with everything. And I think that was a big part of it too. We all kind of understood we had an opportunity to do something really great. And then I'd like to throw a little plug to the 07 team, as I know we like to all joke on which team was the best. But, we were that first team to go undefeated, 13-0 and everything. So, I always like to kind of wear that with pride with our team because, we were the first to come through and do that, especially during a time, too, where, Aquinas had the tradition and, the success before. But it was almost kind of like it was our time to kind of bring it back now.
Yes, definitely. And one thing I want to mention to people, we were just talking about the guys on the team that now are in the Section 5 Hall of Fame. And I have to mention you. Now, you're a member of the Section 5 Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Team. That's special. That's so, it kind of makes everything that you've done before that Makes it all worthwhile.
Absolutely. It was really one of the best honors that I got, especially through my, playing career and everything. Coming up, it was always kind of like I had a lot of promise. I had the size growing up. So everyone kind of looked and said, oh, you're going to be a great football player and everything. But, I really kind of took that too as like an expectation. I wanted to prove myself as well, with that. And when you kind of go through your playing career and you have kind of your book of business, call it your portfolio and everything, to, have a group of, legends in Section 5 look at your resume and say, you belong within some of the greatest who ever played this game. It was so humbling to me personally because, growing up, that was my dream. My dream was to play football at Aquinas, win a state championship. I know we were talking a little bit when me and you actually first met, go to Aquinas, win states, go to Notre Dame, win national title, go to the NFL, play for the Buffalo Bills.
That was the,
that's
what you
the
told me.
Goal and everything. Excuse me. But so to be able to, able to accomplish some of that stuff, I really just look at myself as, very blessed and fortunate. I wouldn't be remiss to say, a lot of it too was the great team, around me. I know there's a lot of great players in Section 5 that have come and gone and everything. And, a lot of times the attention goes to the team who's winning the most.
Yes.
I mean, you could be, especially as an offensive lineman, knowing the position, you could be one of those absolute stud players. But, if you're going 2-8 on the year and everything, how much really recognition are you getting? How much, praise are you getting for your craft? So I would be remiss not to say that I was very fortunate to have such a good team around me that really put us on the map where people recognized all of our skill and everything that we brought to that. So, I mean, it was one of the most humbling things, in terms of my playing career to be, nominated and selected for that, and it's something that I hold dear to my heart even to this day.
Now, another thing. Now we're going to keep on going on a little bit on your journey is you get through Aquinas.
Yes.
You win a state championship.
Yep.
And you're like, wow, this is
it. Like this is everything we wanted.
This is it. Now you go on to college.
Yes.
You're at a pretty good Division III college, Mount Union.
Yes.
And they don't lose too much down there.
They do not. They do not.
And it took you a couple years, but you won a national championship.
Yes.
Playing with them.
Yes.
And that's the thing I like to, let listeners or people on the podcast watching, you're one of, we were talking earlier, you're one of the few guys, and if anybody's got anybody out there that knows, I'd just love to know. You have a high school state championship, you have a college national championship, and you're in the Section 5 Hall of Fame.
Yes.
I mean, that's an elite, especially in New York, in Western New York.
In Western New York.
Just in New York in general. I know there's some guys down in New York City maybe that have gone that route, but geez, that's incredible.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about Mount Union and how the difference of, a top college program to when you came out of Aquinas.
Yeah. No, I will say making my way to Mount Union, I'll be fully transparent on how it was. Coming out of that state championship my senior year, obviously I was, recruited by some very good schools and everything. So, I kind of had the mindset of, this is where my skill level is. This is where I could play and everything. When I went to Mount Union, it was never, I looked at them as a downgrade with it, but being young, being ignorant, not really knowing how going to the next level really was, I kind of came in with a sense of like, okay, I did this in college and high school. Now I'm coming to this level. Like it's going to click like it just always does and everything. So, not necessarily going unprepared, but preparing what I thought I knew and then jumping into that realm was definitely a culture shock for me.
Yes.
Coming into Mount Union, especially coming out of New York State football, now going into Ohio football, really kind of the mecca of where football lives.
Yes.
You learn a lot. You get to college and I was one of the biggest, the strongest, fastest as offensive lineman, I'll put it, on my team. And now you get to college, and everybody was that. Everybody was an all Greater Rochester. Everybody was first team all state for their, selected school. So you kind of get there, and it's just like, oh, wow, like this is different. And it kind of put me somewhat in a compromise, position because the game was so fast. Mm-hmm. Like, I came there and, obviously hindsight's always going to be 20/20. Yep. Looking back, there would have been some things that I would have done a little bit more to prepare myself for that. And then to be honest, it was the playbook. I mean, when you get to the level of, college playing and then, bigger programs, respected programs with that, the playbook was just massive. Enormous, and trying to, even as an offensive lineman, you were walking up and you would have to read certain defenses and coverage, and your blocking would change with that. So trying to learn that curve with everything, because when we were in high school, it was kind of more or less put your hand in the dirt, hit the guy in front of you. If someone comes, you block, boom. And again, we were very fortunate at Aquinas. We were so much bigger than everybody else that we just steamrolled. And now, you have real competition. You have competition that's getting looked for at the pro level and everything. Yep. Things kind of change. The game speeds up. So that really kind of not only changed my perspective culture, but it also kind of helped in life as well. You might think you're prepared for something and you've done it, but then when you actually jump into that next level, and I try to look at it with anything in life, you come out of college, you have your entry level job, you think you're killing it, and now you want to move up to the next level, whether it's middle management or supervise, then you jump to the next level, and it is different. There's things that you don't know because you've never experienced it. So I really looked at my time beginning at Mount Union as call it a wake-up call of kind of life as well, figuring out that, hey, if you really want to achieve a certain excellence or perfect your craft, there's a lot more that you have to do, and you never have to, you can never be satisfied with it. As much as players come out and I was all this county, I recorded this many you could always get better. And I think it's very important to have that kind of humbleness as you come into it, is I got to prove myself. Everybody at Mount Union was a highly recruited person. Yeah. Everybody at Mount Union had Division I looks. Everyone at Mount Union, and some of them actually came from Division I schools like Youngstown State or Ohio State. And then, too, just kind of the culture. We had a lot of players from Florida. We had California, Texas, Michigan, Pennsylvania.
Different cultures.
West Virginia. Yeah. And you kind of learn coming from New York football and seeing how other football, high school football is, it's kind of it's surreal and it's eye-opening. So that was kind of the biggest curve that I would say. And look, transparency. I came in as a high recruit, and I started off as, we had purple team, which was first string, white team, which was second string. I started on the white team, but actually got knocked down in my earlier time at Mount Union down to the practice squad because I wasn't catching it. And that was really the wake-up call of okay, if I want to actually succeed here, I got to take it up a notch. I have to do these type of things, whether it was going to the weight room, early, watching the extra film, sitting down with coaches to try to dissect and understand the playbook better because, you get sometimes one shot. And if you miss that block and everything, the next guy comes in and he starts killing it. That's it. There isn't, you might be in high school and, you're entrenched in your position. You're your starter. And if you miss a block here and there, the coach is kind of keeping you in because, the talent may not be behind you. In college, the talent's always behind you. I remember there was a quote from the great Herm Edwards. I remember him saying he never missed a practice or a game. And it was something where the child is birth or something, and he ended up going to practice. And people asked him, saying, why would you miss, you were in the league year 6, you were established, why would you miss the first birth of your child? And I remember Herm Edwards always sitting there saying, he's the one thing I can always guarantee is my availability. He's like, if I'm there and I'm doing it, he's like, as soon as I'm not there, someone else has that opportunity. He's like, I never want to give somebody that opportunity that was my position. So that's kind of the mentality that you kind of have when you get to that next level that I had to learn with it.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of Tom Brady when he was with New England, and I forget who was the quarterback that got hurt and he came in for.
I think Bledsoe.
Yes, Drew Bledsoe. So Drew got hurt. He came in and basically won a Super Bowl that year.
Yep.
And they interviewed him, a little time after that. And they said, what makes you drive? And he says, if I'm not on the field, I'm going backwards.
Yes.
And there's people coming at me. He said, I never wanted to be taken out of the game. Even if we were winning or losing,
by 100,
I don't want to come out of the game because the guy behind me, if he starts doing something, I'm not playing anymore. So that I get a lot out of that, and I think people, even with their jobs,
yes,
just their jobs in general, where I work, wherever, people just taking time off. It's just crazy, Then halfway through their, I work at a school. Halfway through the school in December, some guys that I work with don't even have any vacation time left.
Yeah,
it's like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And then they call in sick and this and that and everything else. It's just, that's preparing you. Football is preparing you for everything in life.
Absolutely.
So take advantage of it. And
yes,
it's only going to be there.
It's only there for a short period.
Isn't it something?
I mean, even, from someone who thought, I want to be playing football for a very long time, college gets done. So it's funny on the availability side, I was kind of fell victim of that my senior year at Mount Union, doing well at this point and everything. We've won a title and everything. I'd played in 3 national titles at that point, which is really a surreal experience, to be honest. Like, you watch the games, and even winning going to a state championship game in high school and everything, it was still such a experience with ESPN being there and everything, and media time. Like, you're really playing big time ball type with that. So, that was really cool, and just the atmosphere and playing in front of, 20+ thousand fans and hearing the crowd roar. I still get that kind of buzz and chills now with that. But back to kind of the availability thing, going into my senior year now, I've had momentum and everything. Was making some noise, was getting some preseason conference nods. It was we just finished camp. We're scrimmaging Washington and Jefferson, goal line, second play of goal line practice. One of our offensive linemen misses a back block. Running back gets tackled in the backfield. I get rolled up, and my ankle blows. On the field, it's shattered. Ambulance has to come. I get picked up. I get rushed right into surgery type thing. I have a titanium plate, 9 pins, and a screw, basically holding my ankle up. But kind of going back to it is, I was solidified. I was the starter. We were going to go. I was out for about 4.5 weeks.
That's not bad at all.
I actually have a medical journal written on me
really?
about that, because they told me, you're done. 8 months minimum. The craziness in me was like, well, I want to finish out with my group of guys that I came in with. So I did the rehab. I did it. I was able to step back on the field in 4.5 weeks. I mean, I pretty much had a club on my ankle to hold it all together, and I went from right guard to left guard because I couldn't catch back on my right leg. I could push off my right leg, but couldn't catch with it. But, thinking get back, because I was the starter, and I came back to a second string spot. And that's where that availability comes, because the guy who got in when I was there, 3 games in, was doing really well. The line was gelling and clicking, and that's kind of how life goes. So, as much, you mentioned how football really kind of prepares you for life in general too. talk about how much it, prepared me with being able to work for something and accomplish a goal, and getting that, like, if you work hard and you do the right things, you could accomplish something. But also the harsh reality of life as well, where you could do everything right and still not succeed.
Yes, yes.
And that was something that was very difficult at the time, because here I was as a, young player thinking everything that I told Coach Marolo when you met me in 8th grade, although I maybe didn't get to Notre Dame, might have been coming true, because I was talking with scouts and everything at that point, and then all of a sudden, poof, all gone.
It's crazy
how
it is. I mean, unless you go through it, it's really hard for people to grasp it, to understand it. It's just, it is something. And, there's nothing like it. Nothing as far as, growing up and talk about the ultimate team sport. There's nothing like football.
There's nothing. And, like, the relationships and the friendships that I've made, I still carry to this day, from Aquinas and that team, with still seeing James Thomas, Matt Jones, and a bunch of the guys from that team, to my college guys, where 2 weekends ago we were back in Ohio doing our annual golf trip and everything.
Nice.
2 of my buddies who I played line with were in my wedding party and everything like that.
Awesome.
We were all in each other's weddings. I had my whole Ohio faction group with me, and it's so true how, like, the game not only teaches you life, but gives you, those invaluable friendships and connections as well, because you all go through it. I mean, we know the sport is rough and everything like that, but it's that kind of badge of honor that, we go through it together, and we always have that connection as well.
And I don't want to be biased, but not that I played a lot of other sports when I grew up or anything, but I never got that feeling other than playing football.
Yep.
You know what I
Same.
mean? It's just all the work you put into it, and the grind, and, practice was practice, but boy, it was sure fun on Saturday and Friday nights playing football.
It sure was. And like you said, you go through the grind with everything, whether it's the doubles or the triples and the hot days and the workouts. I mean, you all go through it together. And it's the same thing, I tried to play as many sports as I could. Growing up, and even through high school, my senior year being a 4 varsity sport athlete, football was always really the one.
Yep.
That's the one where you could tell, we truly were, a family. We were a team and stuff like that. So, and it's invaluable. I cherish it still to this day.
It is special. So before we get out of here, how did you get here? How did you get to? We're at the Greece Town Hall.
Yes.
And how did this become?
Yep. So I do have to say, I have to give credit to a lot of the lessons and the things that I learned, through football. So, okay, how did Rick get to where Rick is today? Right now, I graduated from the University of Mount Union, and my football kind of was done now. Yeah, I, sustained an unfortunate injury, and poof, there it is. It's gone. So, kind of looking now at the next chapter, like, okay, for someone like me who at probably the age of 5, 6 determined football was my life.
Yep.
That was the only thing I was focused on besides my family and my schoolwork. Football was what it was. So now I'm, 21, 22 years old, and football's done. I have to actually think of, a life. So again, it was kind of the lessons and the challenges that I learned through playing football. So, coming up saying, as a young kid being like, I want to go to Aquinas and win a state championship. I mean, at that young of age, there's so much that goes into this. You're like, oh, that's so nice, but, okay, type thing.
Yeah.
But again, that's where it kind of comes with football giving me the gift of, I was so fortunate to accomplish goals like that. I turned to be like, all right, what's the next thing now? I want to, be a champion in the field that I'm going to choose to, let's just call it my 9 to 5 work and everything. So, kind of figuring out, there was a time period where I was a little like, what do? I ended up kind of looking, which I think a lot of former players do. You look kind of going back to college.
Yep,
I decided to go to the University of Rochester, the William E. Simon Business School, to get my MBA.
Okay.
And, I'll be transparent. I was never the most studious. I got the grades I needed to, but, football always came first.
Yeah.
So going into that program, really kind of unprepared again with it. It was the skills and the lessons that I learned through football that kind of made me shift. It was like, all right, if I wanted to get stronger so I can, do my double team blocks and come off a linebacker better, I would do my hang cleaning, my benching, my squatting, my agility. Mm-hmm. I just reversed it and put it towards what my new goals were. So now, okay, I got to get a good grade on this test, or I want to make this. What do I need to do? It was kind of going back to the gym, but, mentally.
Yes.
Doing the studying, reaching out to contacts, getting the help that I need, So I was a big, I took advantage of, the tutoring and everything. And, the way I looked at it was, I'm watching film. We would watch film to get better and learn the coverages and the different plays and what blitzes they might be. I had to watch film when it came to my schoolwork and everything. So that's kind of the approach that I took with life. I was very fortunate to, get my MBA at the William Business School. And then, from there, just kind of approaching life to be a champion, basically. Mm-hmm. So, I started out at the Monroe County office building, the government in Monroe County, as an auditor. My background was finance and accounting. Started with that, kind of seeing like, okay, this is kind of where finance starts. I want to get to this level. What do I need to do with this? Then I was able to get a position with the bus company here, RTS, within Rochester, being the accounts payable accountant for them. And then looking at that, job too. How can I make it better? How can I be better at this? What can I do to make me, let's just call an all Greater Rochester player in this position?
Yes.
Taking that, succeeding in that, having an opportunity then to go to the New York State court system to, progress my career through there. And, that's really, I think, my last 10 years with being with the court system, that a lot of my football past experience kind of clicked in. There was good times, there was bad times, there was hard times where, you're trying to grow and work your way up with a company and it may not work out type thing. But remembering those hard days, remembering the practices, the work you put in, and nothing comes easy. Like, if you want to bench 300 pounds as a high school player, nobody's coming in benching 300 pounds.
Yep.
You're starting out with the bar. And then you're working your way, and it might take you 4 years to get to that place like it did with me, but, you did it. It takes time. You trust the process. You trust, yourself and what you're doing with it. And then, having that kind of team aspect. Any place that I've gone in, I've always looked at coworkers and everything as my team, like in football. You watch out for your team.
Yes.
You support your team. You do that type of things, and then eventually you kind of start becoming more of a leader. I think it's it's not unknown that usually athletes, when they get into the workforce, tend to rise up as leaders because we have that experience of everybody working towards a common goal. We need to accomplish this. We can work together as a team. So I, cherish those lessons that I learned that I think have helped me so much get into the position that I was in now. And then I was very fortunate to have opportunity to run for Greasetown councilman in the 4th Ward. Worked hard, got elected in November, and that's kind of how I've come here. But it's always kind of been, no matter whether it was sports, family life, professional life, the lessons with football from a young age and being with my team and the camaraderie and the friendships and kind of how that always have played a part into it. Because, as a team too, no one individual wins the game.
Yes.
It's the collected group. And, going back to what I was saying, how I was very fortunate that, being elected to the Hall of Fame, but I have to give kudos to my team too, because, they were the ones who helped propel and made me the best that I could be.
Yeah.
So, that's there was a lot of people who helped me, and being kind and helping your teammates out transformed into my professional type stuff. And I think, people respond well to that, like that team aspect. We're in this together is always, done good by me. And, I like to live, my life as, if you want good in life, you have to produce good.
Yes.
So, and it's, it's same thing with team. If you want your, lead by example, basically.
Exactly.
If you want, your team to be committed, you want good things, and they see you in the gym, they see you taking it seriously, people then will follow. So, that's kind of how I've gotten to this. I've been very fortunate and blessed, as well for, the good things that have come. And, I just want to continue to do good, help others, and, be grateful for the opportunities that I have had.
Real quick before we get out,
Yes.
we have to acknowledge two of your biggest fans.
Yes.
And they were, always at a football game. Your dad was always around. Your mom, your sister, they were always around. And, that tells you about the family. When you
Yes.
talk family, that is family.
Absolutely.
And just having seen your dad around and your mom and everyone, that definitely is a big part of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be where I am without my family. I mean, my father, the lessons, the wisdom that, he instilled with me. And then especially I have to give a shout out to my mother. I mean, she was the one who, she always encouraged me. It didn't matter if I had these big, lofty goals as a young kid.
Yep.
She was always the first and still is the one to sit there and say, if you want to do this, you will do it type thing.
Yes.
So, I mean, having that strong family core has definitely been, a game changer for me, and I'm very fortunate for that because, without them, who knows? I mean, family is family. And,
Yes.
I was very fortunate to have them in my corner and support me through all these, crazy endeavors or lofty goals that I had. But, I still believe it, if you work hard enough and you have, if you have the right mindset, you work hard, you put the time into it, you can really accomplish anything. I mean, that's how I've always kind of been, and that's how I always, live by because, I firsthand have seen it, what you can do with hard work and, being kind too, being good to others, producing good in the world. And when you kind of least expect it, then you turn around and look and you're like, oh, okay, you're like, that's why.
That's exactly.
That's why.
Exactly. All right. Hey, I just got to say thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank
very,
you.
very much.
No, this was great.
It's a lot of fun, and talking football never gets old.
It will never get old.
I
mean, it's, unfortunately I haven't been able to be as active as I would like to be with just, my family and professional career right now, but like jumping back into it, it's like you don't even miss a beat.
No.
I know. I'll be going home and gleaning tonight, and my wife will be like, "Oh, you're looking at a good movie." Like, well,
talking
you
football.
got to be able to talk some football.
Yeah,
so
every once in a while.
Good time.
Exactly. I just want to say thanks again, and this will be out, tonight, Thursday. Our episodes are out every other Thursday night.
Yes.
The next one after this, we're going to have on 2 weeks from tonight, will be Coach Haygreen,
Okay.
the former coach at Greece Athena,
Yes.
along with Johnny Lockhart, former
Okay.
coach at Greece Arcadia. And we're going to have Paul back, and Dave Lanning will be back. So we're going to be out at Greece Arcadia in a couple weeks. And just tune into that. Again, if you have not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe. It does us a world of good. And I got to also throw a shout out to, maybe some other time we'll get into this. Do you know, which I'm sure maybe you don't, do you know that there's NIL in Rochester, New York,
Really?
in high school?
So is this finally starting to filter into?
Yeah.
That's a very interesting.
We didn't talk about that earlier, and I wanted to mention it to you, and I forgot. But we have two guys actually kind of leading this. It's Antoine Heyman
Okay.
and EJ Daniels, and they're just they're awesome guys. It's something that's outside our realm.
Yes. Yes.
Whoever would have thought?
I mean, the whole NIL. So, I got out of college and everything. We did not have the NIL, although I don't know I get anybody in trouble on this, but I think we all know that there was players got taken care of.
Yes.
At certain levels and
They
everything,
did.
even at the level that I was playing
Yes.
at in the school that I was. I mean, when it came out, I was all for it, to be honest. As a former athlete and everything, playing for the NCAA, a lot of these kids, this is their livelihood, and a lot of kids are coming from, unfortunate circumstances. I think it was great, especially these schools. I mean, we see the money that flies around when it comes to big time. Let's talk now, D1A, the SEC, Big Ten, and everything. So, I applauded when the opportunity did come for some of these, athletes to make money on their likeness, especially, when you got to college at 18, you can have a job. I mean, nobody ever balked at, the kid going out of high school and going to get a full-time job and getting paid and everything like that. These athletes were in a, special situation where, their talent, their craft was desired by schools.
Yeah.
So they come there. I always looked at it. It was a job. And, I mean, we always knew kind of growing up, too, especially once you get into, collegiate football, it is your job and everything.
Yes.
When I was in college and everything, I had buddies who might have had a little part-time job, the beer money and everything you want to get. As an athlete, we didn't. It was, we had workouts in the off season. You had still some film sessions, and you had study halls. So the only time we would potentially be able to do is if we hosted players and come in, and you get I think $50 when I was there, which was big money back then as a college student.
Yes.
But I was very happy. I will say it did kind of give me a little pause in terms of how much capitalism do we want to get into the sport? I still grew up as we were amateurs. You got a full ride to play. That was kind of your thing.
Yep.
My always worry was what happens when it gets too big.
Yep.
Type thing. And if it's starting to filter down into high school, that's that would be a very interesting conversation, because although I do know there's some high school players whose situations would very benefit from that to make sure they're secure, at what point is the amateurism still there?
Yeah.
So, but so that's interesting stuff.
Yeah, interesting. Those are stuff that we'll be getting into. We're going to have a media day in August.
Okay.
Where we're going to have the guys that were on the All Greater Rochester team last year with their coaches in, and it'll be up at Rush Henrietta High School.
Very cool.
And just kind of how they have the SEC day. Yeah. Something similar to that.
That's cool.
Yes. So, we have some things coming up. We have a camp up at McQuaid. I know McQuaid is be scrimmaging in a couple of weeks. They'll be scrimmaging Canisius from Buffalo.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Played.
Yep.
And actually, Canisius, I watched a couple of weeks ago. They're in Rochester doing a one-day thing over at the downtown sports complex with East and Monroe was there. And I'll tell you one thing, Canisius got some big guys. Yeah. The kids are just getting bigger and bigger. Actually, they have a running back dash receiver that is committed to Oregon.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's cool.
They have some they have some D1 kids. So we'll be out there watching that for a couple nights and, interviewing some of the coaches, getting back with Coach Bates.
Okay.
From McQuaid and talking to him and seeing what's going on over there and getting ready for another season.
I know. It's right around the corner. Isn't that crazy?
It is right around the corner. But I just want to say thanks again.
Yes.
Rick, it was a lot of fun. It always is. It's great seeing you.
Yes.
And now, before we end, we're going to turn to the camera. We're We're going to go 1, 2, 3. We're going to point and we're going to say, keeping it real, Section 5 football.
Okay.
You ready? Here
Yep.
we go. 1, 2, 3. Keeping it real, Section 5 football. Good night, everybody. Have a great night.
Good night.
There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. And damn, what a hell of a view. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date. You're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight. Don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase. So catch me if I fall. I'm falling fast, sitting here praying that this night's gonna last. You got it all on tap, I'm loving your vibe, always have your back. We like all the same tracks, listen all night in the sheets all black. Said I'm falling fast, don't remember life before you, that's fact. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date. You're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight. Don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase. So catch me if I fall.